Adults of Reddit 40 and over, what do wish you had known about aging? This probably won't affect the current younger generation, because everyone has a camera in their pocket at all times, but I get nostalgic for old places, my old apartments, college campuses, malls, old workplaces, etc. A lot of those places are different now, changed, demoed, and replaced, and so on. I wish I had taken photos of stuff like that when I had the chance. In other words, the world changes around you, and you can't go back to the way it was, and that sucks. It feels especially bad when you can't even look at old photos of special places to remind you of good times. That it happens to everybody, and efforts to reverse it get more and more difficult the older you get. If I go a month without working out and decide to start up again, it takes me a couple of weeks to feel good enough to begin a routine. Hangovers come at a huge cost, at least a 2-day recovery, and sometimes 3 if I really tie one on. Tattoos look a lot better on you when you're 24 than they do at 48. Styles also change. My Celtic armband looked awesome in the 90s. Today it looks like something from the 90s. It's a real mindfuck to see your parents become old and frail, and you're never prepared for the first time you walk into a room, and it takes a few minutes for your dad to remember who you are. Soon he won't know who I'm at all. The hangover hits hard. I need at least 3 days to recover from one night of drinking. I hardly ever drink anymore. I ain't even 30 yet. Can't eat whatever I want anymore either. I always thought that old people felt old, mentally. That's not the case. Mentally, I still feel like I'm 25 over 30. It's more like a timeless dad mournfully watching his home fall apart from within. My grandfather-in-law, who passed away in his early 90s, a week or 2 before he died, broke down crying and said something to the effect of, "I was just 25 years old not too long ago, and now suddenly I'm this weak fragile old man." It's really stuck with me. He was a very caring, calm person, but in those last 2 weeks he really struggled mentally. It's also not like something medically obvious happened at the 2-week mark. It's like he mentally started panicking, and then he passed away in his sleep. Floss more. I brushed my teeth twice a day and flossed only when I needed to get something out of my teeth. I still had to have dental work and it sucked. Sex is still good, however, quickies are more like owlies. It takes things a bit longer to get going, someone replied. On the latter front, I think a lot of people might actually find that a good thing. I think for women at least, sex tends to get better with age. Someone else replied, I completely agree, early 30s woman here. I think for me, the best sex I've ever had has been in my last 5 years, and it's a combination of knowing what I like better at asking/communicating what I like, more mature and confident about my body, and about what makes good sex good. We should both be having great orgasms. I'm more experienced at giving pleasure in different ways. I also think men my age have more experience with pleasing women, not just sleeping with women, and it shows. And I think there is a lot more information out there now for everyone about female orgasms, pointers on technique, and just about sex being mutually enjoyable for everyone. Also, a person who would be selfish in bed seems a lot easier to spot. Maybe that's also experience. I'm loving it. That once you leave a life organized in yearly stages, grade levels in school, years of university broken up by summer hiatuses, that life can become so consistently monotonous that before you know it 7 years has gone by and it feels like you're stuck in Groundhog Day. Make sure you punctuate your adult life with big changes and adventures. Build memories, or before you know it, you're 40 wondering what the fuck did I do in my 30s. It's harder to watch your friends and loved ones age than it is to age yourself. Isn't just a thing for the over 40s, that's for sure. I'm 34 and watching my parents and grandparents get older fucking sucks. At Christmas my dad's girlfriend surprised him by getting all of our old home video VHS Christmas tapes digitized and put on a DVD. We watched it on Christmas Eve. Magical is an understatement, but also quite sad seeing me and my sister as kids, growing up every Christmas. Approximate 10 years of footage, my parents in their 20s and grandparents in their 50s, full of energy and being playful, simpler times from my perspective. I saw my grandparents for the first time since COVID started a few weeks ago, and he had forgotten who I was for a few minutes. He hasn't been struggling with his memory or anything, and I shrugged it off for his benefit, but it was hard. He was a beast of a man when I was a kid, carrying 2 fishing baskets, one for each of us, and now he's a frail old man who can't lift himself to stand unaided. Every time my mum calls, before I answer it crosses my mind this might be the call I've been dreading for years. Sorry for the long post, just felt like sharing. I love Reddit sometimes. Learn proper posture and how to maintain it when you're young, and get in the habit of moving and stretching throughout the day. It'll save you from all sorts of aches and pains as you age. Sports injuries. That ligament in my knee that was damaged when I was 17 hurts like hell now if I try to run fast. My knuckles crack and pop from meaningless trainings and games. The toe that I broke kicking a ball 20 years ago looks gnarly now, and I don't like to wear sandals. You never actually grow up in your head. When I was in my 20s, people in their 60s would tell me that they still felt 21 and would laugh. I'm 43 now, and I still feel in my head like 1995 was 10 years ago. My body, face, and joints definitely feel 43 though. Sunscreen, exercise, and quit smoking, younglings. All the stuff posted in here, but also protect your hearing. Loud music and working around loud equipment pay a big toll later in life, and as of to date, the best fix they have is hearing aids. I'm not using hearing aids yet, but trying to have a conversation with my dad, who does use them, is frustrating. I'll be 60 this year. What's sad is friends, relatives, and coworkers are starting to die. It's not going to get better moving forward. Bright side, I've caught up on getting fit after being relatively dormant 20 years raising my son. I'm in better shape now since my 20s, luckily because retirement allows me the time. It's different sports now, lap swimming a mile every day in the winter, paddle boarding 6 miles a day in the summer, biking too. In my 20s I was a strong skier and ice skater, water skiing, etc. Now learned to avoid high impact sports, but excelled in others, and got nicely toned. Discovered for older people, there's amazing social life at the Jersey Shore. 4 hours, I can dance around, to live music and chill at happy hours with the locals. Living like I'm 22 again. Fun. All the shit that old people told me happens when I was young has happened. But I never could have understood it until it happened, and now it's too late. Youth truly is wasted on the young. How little I sleep, even if I'm tired. In my 20s I could sleep 12 hours straight. Now it's 6 to 7 at best. Not sure if this was getting old, kids, or both. Places that are profoundly meaningful to you, where you have years and years of memories from. Like your grandparents' houses, your grade school, the house you grew up in. You'll drive by one day and they'll just be completely gone, effaced from the earth, as if they never existed. Some days all you want is to drop in and have a cup of coffee with your grandpa, but he's been dead for 20 years and the people who bought his house, a house that he built by hand from the foundation up, tore it down and replaced it with a McMansion. And they cut down the oak tree in the front yard that you helped plant when you were 8 years old. There's no going back. Change is the only constant. And pain. But pain is mostly just resistance to accepting change. Hope that helps. How long it takes things to heal. When I was younger, I'd go out and do yard work for an entire day and get up the next day ready to conquer the world. Now I do that, and I can barely move for the next 3 days. I'm 48 now. I was doing just fine until I saw myself in the background of a picture. I used to be beautiful and thin, and now I look like the member of the ladies' auxiliary of a shitty Southern Baptist church who brought the marshmallow ambrosia to the potluck. Someone replied, at least your sense of humor is still functional lol. I'm currently in my 40s. I now look at active, healthy senior citizens who are in great shape and realize that they must have kept themselves in top health their entire lives to be as active as they are. I worry that I've neglected and mistreated my body so much that I won't make it to 70. Someone replied, keep fucking exercising. Regular exercise helps mitigate many common problems in middle age. Soreness, throwing your back out, weight gain, rotator cuff problems, etc. Make exercise a priority in your 30s and 40s, and you'll feel a lot better into your middle and advanced years. It doesn't even need to be a lot. 30 minutes 3 times a week, plus some walking/jogging, or light sporadic cardio. You don't even need to go at maximum effort. Exercise and diet. Your body can't effectively repair itself if you're giving it crap to work with. It's like skimping on quality building materials, you're gonna have problems a few years later. That your mind doesn't act older. In my head, I still think I'm in my 20s. Until I'm talking with people in their 20s, and I suddenly realize I'm the embarrassing old lady trying to be hip and the kids are just humoring me. The shit you did to your body when you were 18 gets magnified exponentially as you age. Yeah. That time you tried to lift too much weight and now your back hurts a little, so OFTEN equals debilitating back pain when you are 45. You don't notice yourself aging so much as you notice 50% of the adults looking like they are 16. You don't really get more mature as you get older, you just learn to not express your immaturity most of the time. Spend your youth doing constructive shit, not just partying. By the time you are 45, 2 beers will knock you out, and you won't have the energy to do anything constructive. That adults are all just kids in grown-up bodies. We really don't know jack shit about anything. That some things age like milk, not flossing, tanning, drinking cola daily, even if diet, not exercising, diving heroically for the ball athletically as a younger person as a habit, not using sunblock, don't forget the tops of your ears, smoking/vaping cigarettes/marijuana. Every stage of aging was a surprise to me. I'm 72. I was sort of rough around the edges as a young man, Army Vietnam era, and never expected to live a long life if I gave it any thought at all. I toured America on Hondas and Hollies and figured that odds of me living this long weren't great, so I pushed it. I learned a couple of things. I learned that I should have never touched tobacco. I quit early, but still, that shit is addictive and the hardest habit I ever quit other than my second wife. I wish I had all my cocaine money back. The Colombian Army marching powder was great fun at first, and then my biggest regret, you do seriously stupid stuff, and it was never worth the price you pay. Like a lot of others in this thread, I quit booze years ago. A taste of a beer would give me a hangover. I mainline Starbucks today. The difference between 40 and 50 is 10 years. The difference between 60 and 70 is at least 30 years. I aged more rapidly between 60 and 70 than I'd have ever imagined. My health is still okay, no cancer, heart attack, etc., but damn, everything hurts. Getting out of bed is an Olympic level event, my hips and back are shot. I quit riding 6 years ago, and the sheer number of pills the docs say I need is astounding. Getting old isn't for the timid. As the old folk used to say, if I'd known I was gonna live this long, I'd have taken a lot better care of myself. Now, anyone seen my readers in the Metamucil? When I was really young, I thought I would magically morph into a better, wiser, somehow different person as I got older, but it didn't happen. I'm just me inside still. I thought I would feel much worse than I actually do in my 60s though, maybe the 70s won't be so horrible. How quickly one of these days gets replaced with never going to happen. Regretting the things you never did is a hell of a lot worse, at least for me, than regretting the things I did. Start the band. Buy the motorcycle. Put your name on the open mic list. Go out and do stuff. Just don't lose yourself in the process. Better to do something even for a little bit, and even if you fail, than to spend the next 20 years wishing you had done it. Sounds cliche, but it's absolutely true.